Compressors on. A little bit of light on the subject. Wednesday, hump day! Welcome back to the channel. I'm glad you're here. Hope you're having a great day. The past couple of weeks has been really odd, but still finding a way to make it work. Still love rowing, you know, banjos and stuff. Let's do it. Well, today's the job of shame. Putting the stuff back in this this AC box. I saved about 5 minutes by rushing a little bit during that part when I should have been checking the box to see what it came with. I noticed it didn't come with the blower fan and the resistor, so I said, well, I'll just put it in and put that in afterwards, and I went right past all the doors in this thing. So I'm not even going to film the whole thing. I'm just going to take it all apart and do it again. Oh, the Ford Explorer left too. The one with the current draw. She said, I just want an alternator put in, and I said, well, it's charging, there's nothing wrong with the alternator. She said, I'm not paying you diagnostic time past the hour. She says, I'm not even going to pay the hour, I'm just coming to get my car. I don't even know what happened with that. And we got a Toyota RAV4. Someone dropped off at a tow truck blocking my bay anyway, but this van's not going anywhere for about 3 or 4 hours. So I saved 5 minutes yesterday, and it's going to take about 3 hours to do this. I'm gathering up my tools here and thinking, you know, this is one of those things where I got pulled off of this job like 3 times yesterday. Not that it's their fault, but this is what happens in our industry when I tell you guys, don't let them rush you into making mistakes. I didn't take my own advice. So, and I've been doing this a long ass time, longer than a lot of you guys have been alive. It still happens. So all you can do is get it done, go on to the next one, and try to slow down a little bit next time. All right, it only took about 10-15 minutes to get this far this time. Nothing's frozen, everything's easy. You know exactly what tools to bring for each step. Took the heater hoses off the heater core before loosening the heater core inside this time, because I had to wrestle with the connectors because I had the heater core flopping around. Duh. So, you know, you learn every day. Alright, that's where the door goes. The only old part in the whole case. Just a momentary break in concentration, and you forget that whole door assembly. Can't believe I did that still. But maybe if I show you guys that I can make plenty of mistakes too. Just another human trying to make a living. So, slow down, Jimmy. All right. The interruptions yesterday helped me make mistakes. I'm still going to take credit for it. Ooh, that seat's really laid back, so you can take a rest while you drive. So, they said, hey, Jimmy, can you stop what you're doing for a second and take a look at this Lincoln MKZ? Customer states, the transmission's slipping. Something doesn't feel right. I said, yeah, I certainly will take a look at it, but don't expect it to be fast. So we're going to see if there's any codes, see what's going on. 88,000 miles, the actual mileage. I guess that is the mileage. Trip A, 339, 88,116. Trip B, 211 miles to empty, 18 miles per gallon average. Yep, that is it. 88,000 original miles on this 2011 Lincoln. Let's drive it. I don't see any check engine lights. I'm gonna check it for codes first, and then we're gonna take it for a drive using the old Phoenix Light 2. I've said it in other videos probably before, but actually enjoying the scanner. It seems like a good value to me in a scan tool right now. I was like using my launch torque the most, but the launch torque costs twice as much as this, and they seem like they're almost exactly the same. Is it equipped with factory installed navigation? No. System selection. We're gonna look for powertrain or transmission. Powertrain control mode. Read fault code, memory code, no codes. All right, let's take this thing for a drive and see what it does. Make sure it is a transmission style problem. Shifting good. 4th gear, 5th or overdrive. There's nothing terrible going on. Maybe something intermittent. I'm gonna have to drive it a little further, but I'm gonna bring it back to the shop now. I've done a preliminary drive to see if there's anything catastrophic going on, but it's nothing major. Sometimes customers just think they feel things, and sometimes they're intermittent. So I'm gonna bring it back to the shop and take a look at the fluid, check it for leaks, things like that. And then if I don't see anything obvious wrong with the fluid or leaks, then I'll drive it further and see if it acts up after it gets good and hot. Of course, the customer's in here waiting, so I don't know what they'll do if they need a transmission or something like that, but I guess they'll Uber. So we'll come back in a second. While I'm waiting for an open rack, I want to go take it on a drive on. It has a PCM and a TCM separate. Usually if there's a code in the TCM, the PCM will have a PO700 which just says, hey, there's a code in the transmission module. But I am going to look in the transmission module itself just to be sure, since I noticed it has one while I'm waiting on the lift, just to see. It drives good, at least in a short trip I took. No DTCs. All right. What I'm going to do is engine off, key on, K-O-E-O, key on, engine off test. I'll just run it through a quick key on, engine off test and see if anything comes up with that. No DTCs. All right. Now I'm going back to my original, take a look around for leaks, check the fluid level. And if that looks okay, we'll drive it, you know, 6-8 miles and see if it acts up for us. I might have to call Paul Harvey on this one, which Paul Harvey's not around anymore. It's kind of going to be a long phone call, trying to get in touch with him. Get this thing on the alignment rack where it's really quick and easy to look for leaks and stuff. I brought up the line pressure and stuff to look at that. Everything looks good with it, no error. Tells you right on the data screen, no error with line pressure. So that's a handy little way to look at some data for the transmission. I mean, obviously, with no codes, all this is probably going to look right, but you never know. So I'll pull up some relative data for whatever the problem is I'm looking for, like line pressure, and see what kind of problems I might spot that maybe the computer hasn't flagged yet. Maybe codes have been cleared, so you don't know if something's happening. It just hasn't flagged a code yet. But let's take a look underneath this thing. As often as these things break down, you'd think that, oh, there it is. Should be yellow. Should have a Velcro strap holding the hood down. Be a lot quicker and easier for mechanic. Thanks to the kindness and generosity of the Ford Motor Company, it has a dipstick. So let's get a look at the fluid level first. Uh-oh, low on fluid. That's terrible news. Although that'll help us make it perform better. We'll find out where the fluid went. You can tell how much people go through the drive-thru and how they eat by their wheels. If they're curbed a lot, they get their food handed to them through a window pretty often. Just pure speculation on my part, I'm just saying. I don't know, is there anything worse in the world than curbed wheels? I don't think there is. Something is leaking in this corner. Very hard to see. The cooler hoses, it looks like. This vehicle's from up north. Look at that. You see the rusty lines? This thing needs transmission cooler lines. It's a northern vehicle. We will let them know. That's good news. I was thinking 88,000 miles, even for a Ford, that's not a lot. Usually the transmissions last at least 120 on these. So everyone always rags on GM for transmission problems, but honestly, I see them in every vehicle. I'm just busting chops, guys. Don't take it too seriously, man. Have some fun with it. Oh look, made in Mexico. See the transmission fluid tag? The transmission line tag? Made in Mexico, right from the factory. Okay, let's tell them up front, see what we want to do with this thing. All right, heading down the home stretch. I didn't hook the machine up yet, just haven't got to it. But every time I work on one of these vans, any brand really, but Ford seems like one of the worst. But it's like five pounds of shit in a 1 pound bag, or is it 10 pounds in a 5 pound bag? Something like that. Sure got a lot of things squeezed into a small area. That's what I'm saying. And GM too, but Ford just seems worse, except for the alternator. That's pretty easy. Anyway, get the machine on this thing. All right, we're getting close to find out if the van that should not be named is going to be done or not, or I'll continue working on it eternally. So in the meantime, Father, Son, Holy Spirit. In the meantime, I got a 2013 Dodge Caravan. Customer had a transmission rebuilt in October. Went back and had the torque converter replaced about a month ago, but it still does it. They said it shudders at 40 miles an hour. They want us to check it. I'm not sure. We'll see what happens. Well, the battery's dead. Oh, wrong key. Maybe there's another Caravan on the property. That's weird. Oh, look, there's a gray one over there. All right, let's go look at that one. Maybe this one will work. Oh, nice. They got a bedazzled mask on there and everything. That's fancy. 189,267. My goodness. Oh, look at my truck up there. It looks so good. Wish I can get my panels on that thing. Got a lot of repair panels and a lot of rust work to do, and it's so frustrating. I keep buying all the fix-up stuff and all the things to update the wiper system and air conditioning and all the cool stuff, but I gotta get past the rust and the patch panels before I'm gonna do anything, because right now when it rains, water will go in the cab and stuff because I gotta fix the cowl and stuff like that. It's frustrating, you know, but at least things are going smoothly at work, and I don't have to like redo work all the time and wait for transmissions and diagnose transmission shops transmission work. Keep rowing. I find it a little discomforting that we're checking this thing for a transmission shudder or a vibration at 40 miles per hour, but they got an invoice on the seat from checking the charging system a month ago. Let's see what it does at 40 miles an hour, and then we'll worry about it after that. You can't cross a bridge before you get to it, right? Where's there a bridge around here? Well, so far so good. I guess he's stuck. Probably not a great parking space, but whatever. Try going back the other way and see if it does anything. Put the scanner on it if we can make it back to the shop. Surveying the road. That's what I'm talking about. I gotta find a place I can go 40. It's really not the best place to do that because people, the speed limit is 55 and they tend to do about 80 past this light. And there's a section where the speed limit is 45 and they only go like 70 in that area. 40 miles an hour. I don't feel anything. Got a little bit of a slight rough idle, but I don't feel misfires. The check engine light's not on. Maybe I'll just go back to the shop and have them call Paul Harvey. A Caravan with 190,000 miles on it. It runs and drives, so that's a win. Let's go back to the shop and see what they want to do. The body shop said that the Chrysler 200i line yesterday is pulling to the right, so I had Katie take it for a drive. She said it drifted out of the lane after about a half a mile, so I pulled it in and looked at it. It's got 2 different brand front tires on it. All right, let's get the scanner and see if this has any codes. Come on, Top Don Phoenix, let's get us a VIN in there. Oh yeah, 2013 Dodge Caravan, local diagnosis. All right, okay, system select, TCM. I'm going to check TCM and PCM for codes, just for kicks. There's not going to be any communication error. What the heck? What? PCM, read fault code, DTC, no DTCs. I'm going to go back out and do a health report. Key on, engine off. Chryslers and Fords get mad if you do it with the engine run. Can't have air conditioning while it does it. See if it shows up in the list. Well, it does that a lot faster than the launch does. That usually takes about 2 minutes. Maybe it's the Chrysler's a little better. I told you guys it has the voltage so you can see your batteries in good shape right from the screen. Pretty handy. I also want to talk to Paul Harvey about how often this problem happens that they're experiencing, and then we'll come back to it. All right, start this thing up. It's already down to 52 degrees. That's not bad, so I'll be running a minute. I got my digital thermometer out, got my regular thermometer out. Feels really good. If feeling matters to customers and it feels cold, but this thing's got to be in the mid to high 40s now with the money we spent. So we'll let this thing run a minute. We'll see. It feels great. See what it is on the outside ducts. It tends to be about 5 or 6 degrees warmer on the outer duct because the air just cools off, just warms up a little bit on its way out. The center ducts tend to be the coldest. Yeah, this thing's going to be good. I'm going to let it run a little while, see what my max cold temperature is after it runs about 5 or 10 minutes with the windows up. This is already, the manual gauge is already coming down to 50. It's going to be in the 40s here in a second. Goodness gracious, I hope I'm done working on this thing. It's been a little bit of a fiasco, you know. This monstrosity has been quite a fiasco. That's the situation, as my friend Pete would say. He's an angry guy, but he's funny. I try not to be quite so angry in my videos, although there are moments off camera that, you know, stuff can go off the rails sometimes. I mean, everyone's human. At the end of the day, you get the customer's car fixed. Hopefully you made a little money so you can take care of your expenses, and everybody wins. That's what we spend our day doing every day. On to the next vehicle. I hope if anything comes up with this thing, then obviously I'll add to the content on this van, and I hope that doesn't happen. All right, on to the next Chrysler product. It's got a engine diag, complaining about a loss of power. Check engine lights on, and he says after a 20-minute drive his AC doesn't work that great. So there's a few things going on. It's only got 100 and something thousand miles according to the odometer. Is that a OBD2? Yep, there it is. So we'll get that, get the old Phoenix light plugged in. The air feels pretty good now. So let's see what happens. I'm going to get this car uploaded, see what kind of codes we got. Now we'll see if the air stops working. We'll let it run while we're doing the diag on the check engine light. Complaining about a lack of power. It's a Hemi, so that shouldn't be the case. 106,756 miles. Not a lot of miles, but this car, looking at the car in person, you would think it was a 175,000, 200,000 mile vehicle. It is not seeing a lot of love. I'm not criticizing customers. Let's see if this thing has any codes once we get it in here. 2012 Charger. That thing got a Hemi? Yep, it does. Do a health report and check all the modules. All right, I started writing down code. We got cam position codes, cam crank relationship codes, ABS codes, brake switch codes, rain module, CAN code, recirc door, audio codes, driver's door module codes, passenger door module codes, adaptive cruise codes, memory seat codes, ESM codes, TGW, telematics gateway codes. There's a bunch of codes. So some of them are voltage codes, tend to be, you know, you got to keep in mind too, these Chryslers, They use a European software, you know, Mercedes, Fiat type stuff. So it's a domestic company for the most part, but no longer owned as an American corporation. So when Mercedes got a hold of it, they started getting crazy with the software stuff. The vehicles got more advanced, but they also got more complicated and more European style. When you look through the software, you get like a serious Mercedes, BMW kind of vibe to it. Maybe that's just me. You guys tell me in the comments if I'm off base on that. A lot of Chrysler fans will probably get mad, but that's all right. We gotta have a discussion about it, you know. Instead of getting mad, let's figure it out, because I'm not right about everything. I have my perceptions. So anyway, I recorded all these codes. Now I'm gonna clear them. It's probably gonna yell at me and tell me to shut the engine off. Turn the engine off, you dummy. Turn it off, don't touch the brake, push it twice, put it back in ignition mode. Okay, go through, clear the code, see what comes back. I'm also gonna go out and check the oil, because those cam timing codes can be related to oil changes. It does say oil change due on the dash, but according to our sticker, it's not due for 3,000 more miles. So we'll go ahead and take a look at the oil, just make sure it's still full. If it's not full, then I'll look for leaks and do the basic preliminary stuff. It is very possible if the vehicle was poorly maintained, even if the oil is full now, that the damage was already done in the timing system and all. It does feel like it has a slight rough idle, tune-up maybe overdue type stuff, but with those cam codes, that's very concerning. Let's do some preliminary work around under the hood, see what direction we need to go. Uh-oh. Hood shocks are not good. So, looks like they're barely staying up right now. That means they're going to get worse, and that means the hood's going to eventually fall down. So, let's check this oil. The oil's pretty good. That dipstick, I almost had to get myself a pair of channel locks to get it out of there. Something's not right with the tube being bent or something, and that thing's crazy. But oil level looks good, which is a bad sign for the timing system. I'm going to run into Identifix just to take a quick overview of those codes and what they'll usually mean. We may just need to change the oil again. Sometimes sludge is in there and you can change the oil or put additives in there to free things up and to clear up passages. If the passage is completely plugged, they're screwed. You have to clear it out manually. If the passage is a little restricted, then oil additives can help clean it up. So let's look up front first and see where these codes will take us. All right, looking at those codes in Identifix, it's talking about cam actuators, oil quality, oil sludge, things like that. I want you to run an actuator test with special functions, or there's an actuation test, I believe, itself. But I also noticed the air stopped working. So before I get into that, I'm going to take a quick look at the air and see why it got warm. I mean, it's actually feels like it's blowing hot. Put it on auto, see if that changes anything. I wouldn't be surprised if the fan's not working or something like that. Let's go out and take a look. All right, the compressor is off. Maybe it's shutting it off on purpose. I'm gonna take a look at the AC pressures now. I went on the AC module, no codes. Let's read data stream and so just select all and take a look at it. AC request off. Maybe because I went into this HVAC module, it turned it off. You can't even force it on while you're in there. Very strange. Evaporator 109 and clutch and gauge false, which is true. Ambient temperature average, battery voltage, cabin temperature 95 degrees, defrost off, air conditioning and cooling temperature display, engine coolant 214, 700 RPM, everything looks normal. Okay, now we're turned back on. Let's run it through a test. I don't feel it coming out the dash. It'll move around a little bit and we'll see what happens. All right, anytime I back out of the AC module data, the system turns back on. Anytime I go into AC data, it turns off. That's not going to be very productive, because it's going to be difficult to diagnose. So what I'm going to have to do is key on engine off and see what it will do. AC request on, AC clutch and gauge false. Everything looks normal with my sensors. It should be giving me air conditioning. I want to say as soon as I start it up, it's going to turn off the HVAC module again. See what happens. AC request on, AC clutch and gauge true. Interesting. See if the clutch is engaged. Nope. Something going on with the AC clutch, and I think the data thing is normal. It just doesn't give you data. If you go into the module with it already running, it gets mad. But if you go in with the engine off and the key on and then start it up, it lets me see data. Very odd. AC clutch engaged true, but we can see outside the clutch isn't engaged. Now I got to check for power and ground there. So I know what I got to do on the AC. Now I want to do an actuation test on the cam control actuators and see if they pass when I test them. And I don't think they will, but we'll take a look. All right, I'm going to go into an exhaust cam actuator test. It's asking me how I want to start the actuator. I'll tell it 60%. Conditions not correct. Engine running status. Need running or not running. Active DTC present, temperature too low. Oh, that's not right. Battery sensor ECU voltage too low. Let me go out and clear the code. Turn the engine off. Engine's off. Clear code completed. Start engine up. Alright. Actuation test. Okay. VVT exhaust. 60%. Condition's not correct. Active DTC present. Alright, I'm leaning heavily towards the AC clutch problem and cam actuator problem, but I'm going to have to do some dancing to figure it out. So we'll come back. Once I dance a little bit on my own, we'll dance together. Alright, Chrysler Motor Corporation is very generous, letting you see which relay is which, the fourth relay in. Look. Moving that relay, turn the AC clutch on. That's interesting. Feels like it's cooling down. The fan picked up speed. The AC clutch is still on. Something's going on with this relay or the connection in the fuse box. I just touched the relay and it turned on the compressor. So that problem's solved. Pop this relay out. Ooh, that thing is hot. Ooh wee. That relay is hot. Interesting. VVT solenoid. It won't let me do the test on. Got a Jasper something or other in it. Let's try it from out here. Let me find out what we're going to do up front here. We may have to take a valve cover off, look for sludge inside there, see what's going on. It definitely runs rough, gets the intermittent lack of power, and those codes reflect an actuator control problem. Whether it's from sludge, an electrical connection, or the solenoid, it's hard to say, but it's going to require some surgery. So I'm going to see what they want to do from here. So we take it to the next level. We'll come back. All right, guys, 2017 Hyundai Elantra. 96,841 miles. Customer says intermittent flashing check engine light. It's 100,000 miles on it. It's not not looking very loved. That's a shame. What are you gonna do? It is 5 years old. I guess it's wore out. What's the point of taking care of it at this point? Let me grab the scanner. No check engine light. If the light was ever flashing, the light would be on, unless someone's cleared codes. We're going to grab the scanner and see what's really going on with this thing. Oh, just a heads up too. You don't have to turn your fan off when you turn your car off. Car will turn the fan off for you. You just turn the key off, it'll shut the fan off. 2017 Hyundai Elantra. Local Diag. I'm going to do a health report. Ping all the modules, see what's going on. I know it needs air in the tires, so I'll air the tires up while it's doing the health report. Alright. Tires are all aired up. Got airbag codes, an occupant classification code, no engine codes. So check engine light couldn't have been flashing unless someone's gone and cleared it out, but no trouble code. Let's go to data stream. Taking a second. Alright. See if they have misfire codes in here. I'm just going to bring up misfire counters. Feels like it's got a slightly rough idle, nothing terrible. Misfire, no misfire counters in here. Injector disable, coil disable. Nope, that's interesting. Not going to show me easy misfire data. I'll take this thing for a drive, see if I could feel anything. The fact that there's no codes makes me want to go up and say, did someone clear them out? Or is there a miscommunication and she's really in because the tire light's on? The tires were all about 27, 28 pounds, just on the threshold of putting that light on. So I'm going to take it for a quick drive, see what I feel, and see if the tire light goes out. I already aired them up, so. Alright, quick drive. The tire light didn't go out. No misfires or drivability problems. The only thing I did notice is the air got warm for a minute, maybe 2 minutes, and then it got cold again. So maybe something going on with the fan or the AC clutch or something like that. I'm going to let it idle a second, see if it gets warm again. And just for kicks, I'll check to make sure there's no codes, even though nothing happened during the road test. No codes. Let's go up front and see what they're really here for, because something's not right. I'm going to go in a TPMS system myself. TPMS, no trouble code. That's interesting. How about we look at data? Select all. Okay. Let's see here. Front left event. Front left event. Front left ID. 34.4. I just put them all at 34. So let's see what we get now. For pressures in all of them. It says 35 in front right. I think I did 34.5. Sensors won't be 100% accurate, so it hasn't updated yet. So if it's driven a little further, then that light will probably go out. Clear fault code, even though there is no DTC. Oh, yeah, it just tells you no DTC. Okay, let's head up front and find out what they're really here for. Customer with the Elantra said, no, definitely a blinking check engine light. So we're gonna pull it around, he's gonna bring it back if it does it again. All right. Let's see why this Jeep won't start. Customer thinks it's a dead battery. Oh, I'm gonna have to say that right. 48,000 miles. 2014 Jeep Compass. Get the jump box on it. Even the door chime's louder. Oh yeah. That's what I'm talking about. 48,985 original miles. It's gonna need a battery. I'll show you guys what it looks like in a second. Might be the original battery if it was replaced. It was like when it was 2 years old a long time ago. So we get us a quick battery installation. So that's cool. Between the ghost complaints and problems that don't exist and problems I can't duplicate, and so now we'll at least move on to something simple. Bad battery, quick and easy one. I already know the battery's bad. I'll show you what it looks like. You guys can let me know what you think. That's the battery in this thing. Crusty old girl, huh? See if it's charging. Oh yeah, it's charging. No worries. Now that's not the best way to check charging, but at least I know it's trying. Spray down that negative terminal, get it cleaned up a little bit so I can see what kind of shape it's in before I go up front. It's weird, the ticket number on this car, it was written 12 cars ago, and they just gave it to me now for a battery. Kind of strange, but I guess that's the nature of the beast. Someone already removed this for battery access. That was very helpful. Keep some of these disposable brushes around. Not really disposable, but they're cheap. I just rinse it off every time I use it. Get some of that battery acid corrosion off of there. The sink is looking good. I need to put a little bit of anti-seize on that. The studio light works good. It lights up the area pretty well. The O-light, the O-Delphi. That's what it is, O-Delphi. O-light's a gun light. All right, got my new battery ready to go. Put her in there. It's a little tiny battery. It looks awful small from here. I wish I put the battery sleeves on if they're not messed up pretty bad. I wonder if he sold me one for heavy trucks or something. This thing's gigantic. I'm gonna have to try ordering another one online. Find something made of the finest Chinesium and do a Chinese tool review. What's up, Schmuckatelli? Always remember too, you don't tighten these down until there's no gap here and they're crushed. You snug them up until you can't roll that terminal around or jiggle it on the post. See, I'm moving the battery when I move that terminal. That's plenty tight enough. I see these over tighten all the time. If you've seen a lot of my videos, you've probably heard me mention that before, but I think it's pretty important. All right, easiest ticket I've done in 2 weeks. Another broken Honda. This might look familiar to you guys. It's it was gonna get the fuse panel, but I told him I needed like 18 hours labor to do it. The customer had no interest in that. So I changed out the fuses and relays and control module that comes in the fuse panel. And I told her try it. I said, if that doesn't work, we're gonna have to change it. You won't have a choice. So she didn't want to do that, but now it's running rough. Check engine lights blinking. It's got a bad misfire. We're gonna find out why. See what's going on. Maybe it needs an engine, something like that. It's running like crap at least. I really like it when the customer says it's doing something and I can feel it too. That really helps. 124,383 miles, 2013 Honda Odyssey. In case you're not familiar with it, let's bring you up to date. Grab the scanner. See which cylinder's the culprit. Usually on these things it's coils or it needs an engine, one of the two. We're gonna find out which it is. With this Honda Odyssey and this here top-down Phoenix Light 2 exchange pleasantries, and we'll see what's going on. I'm gonna guess cylinder 4 misfire, and then we'll try moving coils around and stuff like that. But let's see, we'll come back. Oh, it's not cylinder 4, it's cylinder 1. Misfire number 1, current and temporary. So it sees it sometimes and it's seeing it right now. That's good. I'm gonna go out to cylinder 1, pull the coil, get a look at the plug. If it's wet with fuel, I'm gonna move the coil. We'll go from there. If it's wet with oil, then we got trouble and we'll have to see what happens. All right, cylinder 1 on this here monstrosity is in the back, first coil. So I'm gonna, since we're on the back, I'm gonna just move it from 1 to 5. We'll see what happens while I'm back there. Take a quick look at the plug. If the coil comes out and fights me a little bit, then I'll just move the coil and see what happens. I'm thinking that doesn't look good. I'm gonna have to pull the plug out and see. It looks like it's coming down the ceramic of the plug. Look what I found in our parts warehouse. I think it's the same. That is the same. Let's not confuse them though. We'll leave it off to the side. I'll pull this plug out of here and at least get a look at it. Make sure it's not totally blasted. Then I'm gonna put my test coil in this hole instead of moving the coil. And we'll see if the misfire just completely goes away instead of farting around and moving it back and forth. Let's see what it looks like together. Oh, look at that thing. Look at this plug. That looks like burning a little oil and the coil stopped working. Hopefully it's not engine damage. Here's the combination of my Williams extension and my Icon wobble. They seem to get along just fine. I don't see what the big deal is. Anyway, let's doesn't smell like fuel. That's bad. It's a double platinum. It's been in there a while, so it needs a tune-up. But I'm gonna clean it off, put it back in, and put my test coil in, see how it runs. Cleaned it up a little bit. Not spotless, but trying to get an idea what's going on, if it's the coil or not. Now, if I put the test coil on, I still have a misfire in one, then I'm gonna stick a compression gauge in there. But I'm not gonna test compression automatically unless I have to. Why spend the extra time till you verify that you might need to? But it definitely is the next step if it still misfires on one. That's the old coil. See how this thing runs. Boom. Check engine light's not blinking. Smooth as glass. This one needs a coil. I mean, you guys could feel that. I mean, Scotty Kilmer would be proud of the way this Honda runs. Although he has turned on Honda lately. I mean, honestly, who really gives a crap what he thinks, but it's still funny. I'm gonna tell him he needs a coil up front and stop horsing around. They said, Jimmy, you do this alignment. Bill is passing it off. Looks like it needs a camber bolt in the left front. I'm not saying, you know, like, I work on a lot of them, but okay, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Yep, let's get the old 2-bolt strut set up there. Let's get a slightly smaller bolt. Get a little bit more positive camber on this thing. I think about 3/4 of a degree and we'll be good to go. 22, it looks like, maybe 21. I'll bring both. Trick is to only change the top bolt out. Leave the bottom bolt tight. I think I need a little hammer action on that. Got me a nice little bolt and nut set up. Hardened of course for suspension. You don't want to use any soft bolts and nuts. That's why we keep all the takeouts. What I'm going to do is put this thing in jack and hold, get the weight off, and then I'll snug this a little bit, and then I can loosen the bottom bolt and tweak the camber out a little. That should be good. Now we'll loosen the bottom bolt. I don't want to brag, but it's like a ninja holding all that stuff at the same time. Now we sweep the caster, get the readings live, see where we're really at. Just got to correct my toe in. Just got to correct that toe, and off we go. It's the perils of lifting and lowering a car during alignment. It's about 1/100th of a degree out of spec, so it turned it red. So now I got to bump the toe a little bit in the right rear. Should be good. Nice and green up there. All right. Now we make our way to set the toe in the left front, and we're good to go. Whoa, shit, what the heck? Look at the size of that guy. There's a pocket screwdriver to give you an idea how big he is. That is a big one. Dung beetle or something. Hey, he's been dead a little while. He's hard as a rock. Yeah, that's what it looks like up close. Now we're gonna knock that left front toe in, and this thing's done. Well, I tried a 15/16, I tried a 22. Nothing seems to fit, so I know this will fit. That is nice. The old Crescent brand. Ta-da! Body shop alignment. Let's print that monstrosity. You gotta print it twice too, I don't know why. It asks you to print it again. And now we wait. You got time, don't worry. Don't be in a rush. Be patient, it's coming. Oh, look at that. Woohoo! 2 copies, one for us, one for them. This one's done. On to the next monstrosity, car. Jump up in this thing. Oh, Bill uses the leveling tool. He's good. He is good. Now you just eyeball it. You guys have one of these? We don't have, I was asking the alignment machine guy when he was here doing our maintenance, and he said we don't have wind toe. It's an option. But anyway, this leveling bar for 48 bucks. Works if you're not sure that when it's straight or not. I don't know. I like to eyeball it. I'm old fashioned. Hard to teach an old dog new tricks. Alright guys, bringing hump day to a close. Interesting day. Well, thanks for watching. I appreciate it. Make sure you click the like button at the bottom of the screen. Maybe subscribe if you want to see some more automotive repair, some project truck videos, tool videos, videos where I combine some of those things. It's been a pleasure having you here. I'll see you guys in the next video. Don't forget, you're awesome.